Well, Matt, season two of episodes aired last summer, and boy, your character stays in a lot of trouble on that show, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not boring. No, I'm I'm glad I'm not him.
um, the way the season ended with episode nine, you're just like I said in all kinds of trouble, and the your former boss is has fired you, and where does that lead into season three, which you're shooting now? Can you talk at all about where it's going to lead to next?
Yeah, I have to be careful. I don't want to give anything away, but it basically picks up the very next morning. So, arm in a sling. Sean and Beverly Lincoln are sort of starting to reconcile their problems in their marriage, and Merck is fired, and everybody's sort of picking up the pieces of the disastrous night before.
So no time lapse. We're going to just jump right back in on the following day.
Right. Between the first and second season, I think it was about 4 months had elapsed.
Speaking of lapses, I mean, what is the reason for such long periods between the seasons airing on Showtime?
Well, we do 9 episodes, and it just kind of it's a combination. It's funded partly by Showtime and partly by the BBC. So I think it's just there's a lot of red tape in ramping up for the next season. But it looks like they're going to green light a fourth year right now, so maybe it'll be, instead of 18 months between season 3 and 4, it'll be only 12 months. That'd be nice. It'd be nice to be able to deliver the show every 12 months. So we're working on turning it in at a little more brisk pace.
Well, we know what the reaction has been here in the United States, but I hadn't really realized that you shoot over there in England. So, and you obviously have some English actors involved, and there's a lot of similarities across. What's been the reaction over there to the show and to your character?
Yeah, it runs on on the BBC simultaneously here as it does on Showtime in the States, and the reaction here has been really good. The English couple in the show have quite a following here, Steve Mangan and Tamsin Gregg, and it's a hit show here. Everybody really seems to like it, and this year, the first season we shot it all in London. The second season we shot 1 week in LA, and the rest of it in London. And this year we're going to shoot 5 weeks here and 5 weeks in LA. I'm in London right now, so so I'm getting ready to come back home. We're almost done here with the.
Almost finished with that shooting season three.
Yeah, almost finished with the London leg of it. So.
Was the big reason you initially?
The sun's finally coming out. So.
Finally, was the big reason you initially got involved because of David Crane, you're one of your former bosses on Friends?
David Crane and Jeffrey Clarick, yeah, they are just fantastic to work with. They're so smart, and the economy of their writing is so excellent. There's a joke isn't just funny; it drives story, and it helps develop character. There's the complexity of it all. There's no wasted words. It's very clean. You read the scripts, and it feels like it's 5 pages long. Even when you watch them, they go by real quickly. I mean, it's just there's a lot packed into a half an hour. Really, really good. And I also knew that it would be, I have a lot of faith in them, and I knew that the quality of the writing would be fantastic. That's all you can really sort of do in television these days. You have no control over when it's going to be on, what it's going to be up against, how long, and how big of a shot the network's going to give it. You know what I mean? So you have to score right out of the gate, and so much of that is out of your control. So all you can really do is try to control the quality of what you're making. So I knew that it would be a good quality show.
Because your character, and it is a character, is based, is called Matt LeBlanc, and a skewed version of you. Do you ever have input in terms of what they're going to write for you, or have you ever had an objection to something they've written that you didn't want to do?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things. We'll talk about stuff, and I'll pitch a joke here and there, but for the most part, it's all them writing it. And I haven't, I've been pretty, people have called me brave as a result of doing this, and I got to say, I don't feel very brave. I feel really safe with them writing it. I know that they're looking out for me and they're protecting me and they're willing to go right to the edge of the waterfall without going over. You know, and I think they've done a great job with it. I'm really proud of the show, and I don't feel like, you know, we're not making a documentary. You know, let's face it. It's a fictitious character. It's basically in my opinion, it's the public's perception of a celebrity. That's who this guy is, and it's been really fun to sort of poke fun at and use a lot of my history and make fun of things. And some things are sort of closer to the truth than others. And I think that the fun part for me is to not distinguish what those things are and just sort of let people think. If people want to believe that that's who I really am, that's okay. As long, you know, as long as they're watching and having a good time, that's, you know, I know who I am.
Has it caused any confusion at all? Somebody think a fan or a friend or a family member or somebody thinks, oh, I wonder if Matt's really like that.
Yeah, the biggest confusion is in myself. You know, I read it sometimes and I'll say, do I actually do that? Is that fake or is that real? What's going on?
You wonder if they noticed something about you that you didn't even know yourself.
Exactly, yeah. So it's almost like a therapy session at times.
Well, you know, 2 years ago you were nominated for an Emmy for this role, and at the same time, and knowing how much you appreciate and respect these two guys, I bet you were just as excited that David and Jeffrey got nominated in the writing category that year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a real team effort. I'm so proud of them for getting, you know, for the nomination, and they were nominated for the Golden Globe, and I think they deserve to win. I think the show, you know, there's not a lot of comedies on television these days that are that funny, you know, and I think the show is funny, and that's due to them, you know.
Yeah, we were having a conversation last night in our forums about some shows that they call comedies are really more dramatic these days. It's hard, just because they're 30 minutes, it doesn't mean they're a comedy.
Right, right. I mean, I've watched comedies where I haven't laughed once all the way through, and you finish it and you say, well, that's a comedy, huh? Wow, okay. You know, I think that our show is. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I think that our show is funny. It makes me laugh. I laugh out loud when I read it, and I watch some of the stuff that some of the actors are doing on it, and I just think it's funny. It's got a great pace, but it's not just funny, you know. Jeffrey and David have this way of writing. They inject it with so much heart, and so you really care about the characters. And they'll take this scene and they'll build this emotional crescendo, and then undercut it with a joke at the end that you do not see coming. And they have a great knack for doing that. And it's similar to the style of how Friends was. Friends was like that too. You know, it had a lot of heart as well as the funny, and I think that really rounds out the show. You know.
Speaking of Golden Globes, which you mentioned, a year and a half ago, coming off the first season aired that summer, and then a few months later, not only are you nominated for a Golden Globe, but you win it. And I think that was your first of the major awards. That was your first time to win individually. Tell us about that night.
Yeah, that was a good night. It definitely wasn't a bad night.
Did you expect to win going in, or what were your feelings as you got there?
No, I didn't really expect to win. You know, you never really expect to win. That was my fourth nomination, and I think it was my fourth Emmy nomination that year too. And you know, so I've been on the losing side of the nominees. That's kind of what I'm more comfortable there. And winning, it's just like a blur. It was great, you know, to stand there and be recognized for something that you're really passionate about is a great feeling, and I'm really proud of it, and you know, really thankful to the people involved and voting for it and everything. It's kind of humbling, you know. I was my mother put it best. My mother, she's so funny sometimes. My mother said, "God, I'm so proud of you. You got nominated for the Emmy, and now you won a global." You're just doing great. So kind of puts it all into perspective, you know what I mean?
Well, we cover these awards, you know, year round, and I think the biggest thing, beyond the recognition, obviously, for yourself, is it gives great promotion for the show worldwide when you win an award like that.
Oh, sure. And and being nominated is just to be recognized and singled out. I mean, there's I think five shows and five actors that get in that category, you know, I think there's five, right? Is it five? Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, that in and of itself is a big honor to be, you know, singled out like that. So it's all good, and it's press that you can't go and generate without it. It really spreads the word about the show, and it spreads it in a way that people think, well, I mean, if it's nominated, it must be pretty good, or if he or she is nominated, they must have done a good job, and maybe it's worth checking out. So, the network is really happy with that kind of press, and it's good for the show, and it's good for everybody involved.
Another award I wanted to ask you about, at the SAG Awards, Friends Ensemble was nominated 7 times, but very, very early on, I think it was your 3rd season, '96, the group of you win. Tell me about winning that SAG Ensemble Award, because all of you were just so tied together on that show.
Yeah, that's a heavy trophy, that one. I remember I almost dropped it. That one's
Physically and emotionally, right?
Yeah, that one's made out of lead. But that one was really, we were particularly proud of because it's ensemble cast. So, I mean, we really strive hard to work together. Everybody worked really hard. Lisa Kudrow said we worked harder on those relationships than we did on relationships with family members. And it was really true in the beginning. I mean, it was really apparent how important it was to work together and help one another and be able to bounce off one another and share ideas, and it paid off. The chemistry between all of us was really something special to be a part of. Yeah, that was very rewarding.
I can't believe, I think you and I are really close to the same age. That show started 19 years ago. Does it feel like 19 years ago that Friends started?
Wow, is it that old? Wow.
Yeah, 94.
So by you saying that you and I are the same age, that means you and I are really old?
We're getting there.
Yeah.
At the time, obviously, you're in the middle of it. You're making it and all. And now it's a classic. I mean, it's airing on Nick at Night and all over, the world still. When you first started, obviously you're hoping it works, but did you feel like this could be one of those legendary kind of shows?
Friends, you're talking about?
Friends,
again, yeah. No, not when it first started. I mean, it was like, wow, this is something special. I really like. Everybody's very interesting the way they deliver their lines, very original, fresh, delivery. But you don't know. Nobody knew what it was going to that it was going to become what it was. I don't know how you could see that coming. It was the first summer of reruns. I remember that the show got inside the top 5. It was during that summer of reruns, and then it just stayed there forever. So
I remember that it was a hit during the season, but not.
It was like
a spectacular hit that it became off the reruns.
Yeah, it was like 20 something, or like that's where it placed in the original runs that first year. But then when it came back after the summer, that's when it like was the water cooler show and appointment television, must see TV, all those kind of things were. And NBC did, to their credit, did a great job marketing the show and promoting that Thursday night lineup with Eat Friends, Seinfeld, Mad About You, I think, and then ER. That was a pretty strong lineup. So
there's no lineup like that on TV now.
No.
One more Friends question. They accomplished something very, very, very rare. Most shows start winning their Emmys early on, especially the big Emmys. But Friends won Best Comedy Series for its 8th season. What was it about that season that was so popular and so good from a quality standpoint? That was your first nomination, too, for the 8th season.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I mean, to me, we worked just as hard every year. I don't know. Maybe it was so there was less competition. Maybe the storylines that year resonated particularly well with voters. Who knows? I don't really have an answer for that.
I think the storyline more than anything. I mean, that's when you declared your affection for Rachel, and there were so many things that converged that season. I think on storylines that it really made it even better than it was before.
Okay, well that's nice. Thanks.
Now, listen, if you get nominated again for an Emmy for episodes this summer, as you well know, you're going to have to choose one of your episodes from this season. Have you thought at all about what you might narrow that down to from season 2 from last summer?
I haven't given that any thought yet.
I talked to the folks at Showtime just to get a feel of maybe what they might be recommending to you. Let me mention the two that they talked about the most. Obviously, you could choose anything you want. They loved episode 2 for you, which is where you buy the cars.
That was funny.
Tell me about that one, just working on that one.
Well, the way we shoot the show is very different than any other show. We shoot it like a movie. So all the episodes are written, no pun intended, are written in advance. And so we have the whole season going into it. I know the script for the whole season. So we shoot out every location, like everything that happens on the Pucks stage. We shoot all the scenes. We stay on the Pucks stage until all the material that takes place on the stage for that season is done. Then we move to, for example, the network offices, which I'm not in, so I have a little break there, which is nice. So shoot everything that happens with Carol and Mark and all that stuff. Then we'll move to my house, everything that happens at my house for the season. So it never feels like we're working on one episode. That's why it's hard to distinguish episodes within the season for me, because we shoot it like a long movie. We just shoot out it's very economical to do it that way. And it's all about saving a buck, right?
But you like that one a lot, the one with the cars?
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. They're all fun. I think the network it's hard for me to think which one is better suited for a nomination. I think maybe the network is better at choosing that kind of thing. I'll listen to their advice.
Well, they like that one a lot, and they like the season finale a lot. Those two, I think, are maybe in the running, at least in their minds.
Okay. Well, I'll take a special look at those then.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm glad that you're getting to the end of that road of shooting this season 3 over in London, and good luck with the Emmy nominations over in July.
Thanks so much. Thanks. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you.